Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be doing more math at home. Today we're going to talk about how to tell time on a clock. So I brought my friend Judy to help us out today. But before we start that, I wanted to tell you about how God feels about time. God says in the Bible that He wants us to redeem the time, to use our time wisely. In Ephesians 5, verse 16, it says, making the best use of the time. How have you been using your time wisely? How have you been making the best use of your time? When you use your time wisely, you're using it for good purposes and for good things. And guess what? Right now, you're using your time wisely because you're working on your schoolwork. That's something good that you can do, and it helps you to learn and to grow and to know more about God's world. So, let's review really quick. What is different between the hour hand and the minute hand? One thing you could have said is the hour hand is shorter than the minute hand. You also could have said that the hour hand tells us what hour it is, and the minute hand tells us what minute it is. So look at this clock. What time is it? Remember, look at the hour hand first and then the minute hand. You should have said 9 o'clock because the hour hand's pointing to the 9 and the minute hand is pointing to the 12. And we know if it points to the 12, that means it's the start of a new hour. So we would say o'clock. Okay, I have another one for you. Try this one. The hour hand is pointing just past the 11, so we know that it's still 11. And the minute hand is pointing at the 6, which tells us it's been 30 minutes. So we would say this is 11:30. Do you notice the little marks on my clock in between the 12 and the 1? See each of these little tick marks? Each of those counts as a minute. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've landed on the 1 and it's been 5 minutes. Count the tick marks between 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So between each of these numbers is 5 minutes. So if we count by 5, we can find out what minutes they are around the clock. Now I know my Judy clock already has the numbers on there. Those are just to help you. But let's try counting by 5s. And actually, I'll start my minute hand right up here. Right now, it's 12 o'clock. Let's count by 5s and see what happens next. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And now what time is it? 1 o'clock. That reminds me of another fact that's important to remember. How many minutes are in 1 hour? Well, we just found that out because remember, if the minute hand goes all the way around the clock, it's been 1 hour. Just a moment ago, this said 12 o'clock. Now it says 1 o'clock. It's been 1 whole hour. How many minutes was that? Well, we'll count again. We'll go from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Count the minutes. 5, whoops, I'm going backwards. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. How many minutes are in 1 hour? 60 minutes. Okay, here's another question for you. How many minutes is in a half of an hour? Remember, a half an hour means we go halfway around. How many minutes would that be? I'll give you a moment to think about it by yourself. Okay, let's count half an hour. Right now it says 2 o'clock. Let's find out what it'll be in half an hour. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We just went halfway around the clock. How many minutes was that? 30 minutes. A half hour is 30 minutes. Now earlier it said 2 o'clock and now it says what? 2:30. 2:30. So it's 30 minutes later. 1 hour has 60 minutes. A half an hour only has 30 minutes. Now it's time for us to start a new packet. This packet should have a picture of a teacher with students on the front. When you open it, you should see page 345 at the bottom. Number 1 says to write the missing numbers to show counting minutes by 5. So in the clouds, you're going to count by 5s around the clock. Number 2 and number 3 say complete the statement. So you're going to tell me how many minutes is in 1 hour and how many minutes are in a half hour. The hint is, if you know how to count by 5s on a clock, you should be able to find out how many minutes are in a whole hour and how many minutes are in just half of an hour. That might help. At the bottom, you're going to write the time. Over here, they give you the analog clocks with the minute hand and the hour hand. Over here, they show you a digital clock, and they just want you to write what hour it is. Now look at the back of the page. On the back of the page, you see some watches. You're going to fill in the bubble beside the time that matches the time on the clock. So fill in only one bubble that matches the time up here. For number 5 and number 6, write the time 2 ways. The first way, you're going to show me the hour and the minutes. Down here, you're just going to tell me the hour. What o'clock is it? And then at the bottom, write the missing numbers. I know you guys can do it. Keep working hard, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.